All right, well, g'day there and welcome back. Richard Musgrave-Evans here, back in the CHOoK House studio. Now, if you can hear any chooks next door there, you know what's going on. Love this studio, and I'm happy to be back in there painting, because what we've got here is natural sky lighting rather than artificial light. That light shines straight down and it's very much like painting plein air. Then you get the true colours, you can judge everything much clearer and much easier. And if you're going to paint quickly and block in massive colours, I can hear the chooks now. If you're going to block in those massive colours, it's best to have good natural lighting. All right, so now I've just put a few lines to get me started. Let's block a few darks in and then get into it. Okay. I'll start putting the darks in first. So we've got the palette knife here. We're going to go for some alizarin crimson. I may go for a bit of phthalo and a bit of burnt sienna. That'll make a very dark neutral colour. Plenty of the red in there. All right, now where do we want these? I want a bit of red up here. I purposely like getting some straight red too and rubbing it in certain areas. And then I'll put the darks back over. But the idea of that, later on when you scrape back to it, you get that pure red and you can see the white through that, and it gives a translucency and it looks absolutely beautiful. So that's why I always like to have the alizarin crimson as a bit of an underbase, just in case I need it. All right. Don't need too many darks, just a few in the foreground here to set it off. We'll obviously paint over a lot of these darks, but it's just getting me established. What have I got here? And I might just put a little bit of Viridian green and red. Just up here, a bit of yellow ochre, just changing tack a little bit. I'm going for a bit of the foliage now. The shadow of the foliage, a bit more yellow ochre, a bit more burnt sienna. So I'm getting all the dark values in. Yeah, I could go a little bit more burnt sienna. Alright, getting the dark values in. And then we'll start putting the mid-tones and then the light and whatever else. Just getting a little bit of foliage colour in the shadows here themselves. This is the foreground cliff. It was a beautiful thing. I went out there on location only yesterday. It was absolutely beautiful weather. Got all this footage and whatever, came home excited and I'm into it before. Well, it's all still extremely fresh in my head. Now I go for some phthalo blue, magenta, a bit of white to lighten the value. More magenta with the phthalo blue. Mix it with a few of those darks to get a fairly neutral sort of colour. A bit more burnt sienna to grey it off a bit. Lighten the value with a bit of white. I want to see what I've got. A bit more red. Yeah, a little bit more magenta-y red dominant. It's jutting off. Lighten the value, a bit more white. Making it up as I go. Darkening the value here. I'm starting with darkest darks, and gradually as distance increases, getting lighter and cooler in value. There's the darker darks there. Goes out to about there, right. What have we got here? Yeah, some dark darks in there. Now this side here, it's roughly about that there, I guess. It's mostly going to be sunlight here, so a lot of this shadow I'm going to go over. And let me just stand back and have a look at that. Yeah, so a lot of the shadow on this side will be getting covered, but it's good to have it in there now. Magenta, Viridian green, white, magenta, Viridian green. It's just slightly darker as I'm getting closer. Bit of yellow ochre thrown into the works here. I just want to get a nice edge. What am I going to do? About here. Just working out where the edge of the river is going to be. I think it's going to cut through there today. Bit more white, phthalo blue, magenta. Going back a notch now into a new layer. More magenta. Some of those darks to knock it off a bit. Kill the chromatic saturation with a bit of reds and greens, so it's not too intensely blue, but it is bluer in the distance. Needs a bit lighter value, a bit more white. It's a little bit cooler, a little bit lighter. What do we got? Yep. A bit more white. This goes back. A bit more white again on top of that. Just establishing a bit of a horizon here. Okay. Now I'll go even lighter, a bit more white. Wow. Right, I think I'll get some of the shadow. Let's go yellow ochre, the shadow of the cliff. Burnt sienna, white. Burnt sienna, it's too light in value. Yellow ochre. Some of those blues to kill the saturation, a bit of red as well. Trying to make it a low-key version of the cliff face colour. Let me have a look. I could go ever so slightly more of a warm value, so I've gone magenta to do that. Nice. Yep. Put that up in there. What a beautiful day it was down there too, like I was saying. Absolutely beautiful day. Well, I've just done a quick canoe little trip with a bit of a paddle and got into this absolutely beautiful spot. Gum trees, cliffs, beautiful day. Just doesn't get much better, I don't reckon. Talk about inspiration for major works. That's coming along good. We'll go a bit more yellow ochre again, a bit more burnt sienna, grab some of those blues. Bit of red, because that blue sent it slightly green. We don't want too much green. A bit more yellow ochre, a bit more burnt sienna. Just a little bit stronger chromatic saturation. A bit more burnt sienna and magenta. Because I'm doing these cliffs here now, and I want them to just stand out a little brighter. A bit more yellow ochre. Put that on. Gonna need more paint. That was a bit stingy. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre. Scrape up all those blues. Scrape up those greens. Use red because it's gone too green. Get right into the corners here. Nice and neat, lovely. I just love painting. If you can hear a bit of noise on the roof, it's a bit windy out there today. That's what's going on. I just love painting these really big, near to far landscapes. Absolutely great fun, man. Let's just see. That's all going well. We'll keep going with that. Yellow ochre, burnt sienna, darks. I'm going to have to get some sort of red out. I'm going through red and magenta a little faster than I anticipated, so I'll get some of that out. Throw a bit of blue in to kill it off a bit. We want to be... Where's the edge of that going to be? It's going to be out there somewhere. That'll be there. Alright. Solid in there, that shadow. And you can see when I'm scraping back, I get some pure reds because I stuck them in earlier, and it's absolutely beautiful. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre, a little bit of blue. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre. What do we got here? I'm using tubes for these ones. I've got the magenta here. Using tubes for those ones. I use tins for the big white, that's why I put so much white on. And I was using cartridges with the cartridge gun for some of these other colours. That can be the alizarin crimson. Alright, let's just keep on going. We needed more red because that was getting too green. Nice dark value. More magenta in that. Yellow ochre. Get it all covered. Lovely stuff. Heaps of paint going on with the knife. Just getting the edges nice and neat here. Just trying to paint right up to the edges. There we go. A bit more burnt sienna, yellow ochre, more magenta. To make it slightly warmer instead of being too cool. Fairly dark value there. I'm going to even go blue, go some white and blue. Red. Anyway, blue is strong, I tell you what. I just want a few blues kicking around on some of these edges. Looking good. Go for some white. And those beautiful blues. Right down the water here, there's some absolutely, I'll just go magenta as well, I don't want to be too strong, but there is some absolutely beautiful blues on the water. A bit of white to lighten it. I'll just stick them in. A bit more white. Lovely blues kicking around here from the cliffs. Bit of blue there, yep. Alright, feed that one in there somehow. Be good there. There you go, look at that, that's probably enough. Alright, well I've got a lot of the darks established. What I might do now is just get, hang on, just get the sky blocked in now, and then we'll get stuck into putting some of the mid and lighter tones on. Alright, so we're going to need plenty of white. I'll go for this area still. Magenta. I'm mixing all these colours together, so I've got a bit of the ochres and whatever else with the blue, because I'm trying to get a fairly neutral colour down low on the horizon. It's been greyed out a bit by the atmosphere, so it's not pure colours, it's just a little bit greyed. And if you use some of the colours from around here, well, you get that. It's a good way to save on paint basically, isn't it? So let's have a look. We'll go lighter than that. That value off. Let me just have a look. I've got to try and judge this because I'll go a bit more white. I don't think I should go much lighter than that. I think that's about it. It always looks a lot darker when you've got a white background. If you've got a darker background and you put this same value on, it's not going to look so dark. Because that's pure white, this is actually looking dark, and that's why I like to get the whole canvas blocked in as quickly as possible, because it can trick your eyes basically. It make it hard to judge colours when you've got so much white there. So let's just put this colour in, get this white canvas covered as quickly as possible. I'm not quite touching the edges yet because I don't want to smudge it all up and make a big mess. I'll bring that down later. Oh, the sun's come out, that's good. Alright, we've gone to that. I'm going to go up a way now, I'll just stand back for a minute. Alrighty. Let's go, eh? We've got a fair bit of wood on board, as you can see. Bit of a pelican there, beauty. Okay, well that seems to be kind of working. Let's go up a way, we'll go for white. Bit yellow ochre, definitely yellow ochre. Maybe a bit of burnt sienna. There was a bit of a haze in the air like I was saying. Go for some blue. More yellow ochre. Just got to pitch this correctly. There was a bit of a haze in the air on the day. Let me just see what we've got here. Way more white. A little bit more blue. Stick that on now, I'll go with that one for now. Let's just pile it on like that, that might be a better way to apply it. Less time consuming. Get that canvas covered. That's quite an ochre colour. I'll bring some more pure blue in a minute and go over that. Bring it in like I'm doing with this kind of technique. In a second, let me just get that on first. I'll just go more white, more blues. Take her up a layer. Getting some of those greys, because that phthalo blue is so intense, some of those magentas as well, to knock the chromatic saturation down. Because I've got a bit of yellow ochre in there, but by putting magenta as well, just killing the intensity of the colour off a little, which I need to do because phthalo blue is too intense. Well, that'll be alright up here. Put that there, but I actually want to go down a little bit lighter. So I'm add more white. More white, get a lighter value going. Even more white, believe it or not. There's a lot of white going into this. There she goes. Bring the two together a little. To the edges. Nice chunky paint. A little bit of the darker to go up. Oh, what fun it is to paint a massive canvas like this, eh? I love the way the gum trees get that flickering light up them from the ripples on the water. They just get this little flicker. The cliffs are getting it too. It's just a gentle little... It's going alright, but I definitely need more magenta in the mix as I'm getting higher. A little bit more phthalo blue with that magenta. There we go. Let's see what we've got here. Not too far off the mark. darker, so it's got less white, it's got more magenta. There we go. That's all happening. Scrape it up, put it on, right up to the edges. That's looking good. I'm getting to the point that I'm running out of the colour yet, but probably got enough. I'll just keep going with this for now. I'm actually going to get the brush out and blend this in a minute. If there's any white showing like that, the brush will push it into it. Just stand back and have a look, see if I've got the values somehow correct before I go any further. Next phase, I could put the foliage on now, some of the lights on the foliage, but also we've got this massive patch of water here. I should probably start getting some of the shadows, some of the reflections in that and the sky on top. Might do that. Just going here, it's almost like a cave. Just fit in. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Let's get the yellow ochre, burnt sienna, bit of Viridian green. It's definitely got burnt sienna in it. A bit of that sky blue won't hurt, we'll throw a bit of that in. Needs to be slightly warmed up with burnt sienna. A bit more burnt sienna, each day is different. This is what I'm feeling it needs at the moment on this particular adventure. Yeah, more burnt sienna, strangely enough. Also, it is reflecting the cliff, so let's have a look. Yeah. Because the water's so green, even though the cliff itself is kind of orange, because the water's so green, it starts to bring its own colour into it. It's close on right. Just lighten it now over here, yellow ochre and white. Bit of sky blue. Maybe a bit of Viridian green. Just ever so slightly in this area I'm about to do next, yellow ochre. Because it's reflecting this foliage here, which is a slightly different colour than the cliff face. It's more of the khaki colours. So the reflections seem to be more of that colour, a little bit more Viridian green and yellow ochre. Pull that in, there we go. Lighten her off with a bit of blue. Some reflections in here. There's another little billabong just back here. Just lighten that up a bit. There's some reflections up there from, you've got the main part of the Murray here and then a little backwater over here, so pull that in. Alright, that's looking good. What I'll do is I'll get a bit more of the foreground green going. So yellow ochre, a bit more viridian green, some of the sky blues, whatever, a bit of white, more yellow ochre. What colour's the water today? Every day it seems to have a slightly different colour about it. It's amazing the way that works. There was a fair bit of yellow ochre in it yesterday, so sometimes it's got more of a chocolatey colour, depends on how much the river's flooded. If it's flooded a lot, it gets more of that kind of chocolatey colour from all the tannin in the gum leaves getting washed into the river and getting washed downstream. Seems to be what's going on. But at the moment it's pretty calm, so it doesn't have as much tannin in it. It's got more of that kind of yellow ochre green about it. A bit more yellow ochre, a little bit of sky blue thrown in, won't hurt anyone. Oops, what are we doing there? A bit more viridian green, yellow ochre, burnt sienna. Get the coverage on. Now I'm leaving patches here because slowly it goes from being the colour of the water to becoming the colour of the sky, so just leaving a little bit. Let me have a look at that. Take the glasses off so you can see me. I've got the light in my eyes, but look at that. Just so many beautiful scenes here. Beautiful gum trees. Just lovely. There we go. Wow. I've got that in. Now what I'll do is I will actually go for a bit more of the sky, phthalo blue and white, yellow ochre, and a magenta to knock it back like I was saying earlier. More white. Need tons of white. Let's get all these colours and mix them in to knock it back a bit. Save on paint by grabbing everything that needs, if it needs to be greyed, and you've got plenty of other kind of middle tone greys lying around, throw them all in. Just mix, mix. Yeah, that needs to be whiter. Oh, there's a bird on the roof. Whiter and more magenta. Something along those lines. Right. Some of the sky blue in this billabong area. More phthalo as it gets closer, more white. Plenty of mixing to be done always. Even go a little bit lighter than that. Stick all that in. think I got some fish, do you? I think it's got a bit of fish, I reckon. Oh, got company. It's good. Might just get a bit of magenta in the mix. Mix her in. Because when it's near those greens here, as I'm putting the blue on and it's hitting some of the green reflection, the green mixing with the blue will turn it, the sky blue, way too green. So if you put a bit of magenta, it's more of that red side. When it hits the reflection, it's more likely to end up being a neutral blue, because the reflection and the magenta are cancelling each other out, giving you somewhere more near a clean, straight blue that you want. So yeah, just a little bit redder than I want there. Hits the ochres, becomes the right value. Let's get some pigment on. A bit more red. Bringing them together a bit now. Less white showing through. Starting to mix them. Starting to blend them. Blue, white, magenta. Bringing them together. There they go. Slowly the green is melting into the blue reflection. Lovely. Right. So we've got that in. I'm not going to lock anything in permanently. Go for a bit more blue and white. Not locking anything in permanently yet. Like I was saying earlier, trying to get it all covered first. Plenty more white. Going back to one of the lighter values in the distance. Once I get things closer to where I think they should correct in, value and enough coverage, then I'll start getting more confident in laying everything in more permanently. For now, everything's going in, just feeling my way around. Let's just leave that one for now. It's just getting a little dirty in there. Go back to that in a minute and put some lighter values. Right, I'll start mixing that, but first, we've still got these whites here. That's going to be a lot of foliage in this little island here, so I'll get stuck into that next to try and get the whole thing covered. There we go, lovely. Beautiful. It's going to be a bit of a cool night tonight apparently, so happy about having a fire. Okay, let's get this foliage going. Yellow ochre, burnt sienna, some of those sky blues. A bit more magenta in this one. Trying to make a nice khaki river gum colour. A bit more viridian green. Now hopefully you guys can't hear that, but I can hear something in the background that sounds like a jackhammer, and I reckon it is a jackhammer. Hopefully it's not interfering too much. Maybe go slightly darker in value. lightly stick her on. Beautiful. Burnt sienna, a bit more viridian green, a bit more yellow ochre. So there's a little bit less white in the mix, I guess I'm saying. I'm whitening her up a bit. Just a little bit richer. Right, now we'll go magenta and blue. Half mix that with that, which will just knock it back that little bit. Just as it goes here, it gets a bit more receded with distance. Not much, just a little bit. Alright, next layer, just go white. More of those magenta-y blues in the mix to send it off further back. There's a lot of magenta going through a lot of magenta today. What are we up to here? Let's have a look. Yeah, that's not bad. I could even go more magenta than that in blue. Half mix that in. Really send it off to the distance. Just lightly putting it on, so I'm leaving little little gaps so the shadows can shine through. A little bit more blues and magentas as it goes further back. More of the magenta. Mix it up more purely, thoroughly. Let me just have a look what's going on here. Freshly opened pack, nice loose tea leaves, beautiful stuff. Alright, still going good. A bit richer over here, it's not so far away. We'll start to fade out a little bit. Start to go back a bit, back here in the distance. Right, a bit more red. Right. Now I've still got a bit of sand to do here. I've got the lights to put on the cliff or whatever, but we're just going to start blending that sky now because it's all too chunky in my eyes, not blending enough. Get things blended and then I'll get stuck into the rest of it. You can see how those kind of greys on the horizon and that ochre has really pushed the sky off into the distance. I mean, there's no detail there at the moment. You know, it feels like there's something going on there because of the fact that I've got the values correct. It's giving you the illusion that it's going back, even though it's not a highly detailed piece in that area. Some blending in here now going on. It's just a little bit greyed the same way to send it back because it's a reflection of this part here. As you get down into here, you're more getting reflection from up high, and as you get out here, you're getting more of a reflection from there. Bringing them together. These little marks are always good really gives a feeling that there's something going on. Plenty of activity going on. Just blending them together till the river's convincingly one big smooth thing, gradiated subtly from foreground to distance. Lovely stuff. Very subtle marks, very subtle gradations going on. Just loosen that off. That billy's almost boiled. You little ripper. Just loosen that one too. It's like the perfect armchair when you do this. Just loosen the strap off. Look at that. Oh, you little ripper. Comfort. Instant. Here we go, she's on the boil. There's going to be a bit of light source over it, but... Right, now there's also some cooler rocks too, so we'll go for magenta and blues. There's some little cool bits thrown in amongst those warm kind of orange colours. Little bits of limestone, white limestone. It's all going well. Let's go for some white now. Got to keep moving around. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre, tons more white, predominantly white, and yellow ochre and burnt sienna. A nice sun-bleached midday summer colour. The light source on here. Actually, I can see too, what do we do is grab another knife. Instead of getting all the paint off that one, there's just a few subtle... Now what I might do is add those ones later. I'll keep going what I'm doing. A bit more burnt sienna, a bit more white. Let's just get this all covered. The full Australian sunlight, high key colours. Now what do we got here? That runs up. That's going to run through like so. Hit. Nice. Sticking it in the negative spaces between the trees. A little bit thrown up here, a little bit thrown there. Alright, now there's some reeds on the side there. So they're a little bit more yellow ochre. Let's just have a look. Maybe the slightest twang of green. I don't want to go too overboard with green. It's very much that Australiana sun-bleached look that I'm after. Right, let's change tack a bit, keep on going. Burnt sienna, white, yellow, more white, more yellow. Where's the edge of that cliff going to be? Those chunks in there. Painting some of the light now, catching on the edge of these cliffs. Just a little bit of light here and there catching. That'll be the cliffs off in the distance through there. So let's get a bit of cad for the first time. Cad orange with white. Maybe a twang of magenta because it's off in the distance. A bit more white. It's a fairly light value, sun bleached, middle of Australian summer. Well, it's not actually summer, but it's that Australian sunlight, which is high key. A little bit of blue to set it back into the distance instead of being too... Yeah, we've just got to work out what value to do here. I'm adding a bit more magenta and blue because I'm trying to get it to recede off into the distance. Let's see if I'm getting on the money there. I might just swap over for a smaller knife. Let's go a little bit darker so there'll be a little bit less white in the mix in some areas. And a bit more cad. They're very subtle values. You get the values right and they'll look convincingly accurate very easily, but you get them wrong and it won't go off into the distance. So just got to play with that. Alright, a bit more blue to send it further back, a bit more white to lighten it. So I've got more of the blues and the magentas as it's going off into the distance. Just need to mix up a little bit of magenta and blues. Just want to pop a little bit of shadow back here. Somehow it's gotten a bit lost in the distance. It needs more magenta than that. Very subtle values. Bit of blue there. So, because this is all in shadow, as the creek or as the river goes around the bend, it gradually gets into more direct sunlight shining out there as it takes this U-turn. But here we've still got to have shadow and then gradually get less and less shadow as we go further and further off. That'll be kicking around. So I've keyed that off by putting the blues and magentas in. So it's kind of got a grey aspect about it, even though it's still ochre colours. Those chooks are having a bit of fun. Well, we're obviously starting to get the big impression. Now, I'll just keep working around and round and I'll just start bringing up some highlights. There's actually there's a nice little township in the distance over here. A few nice little buildings, so I'll pop them in. Start popping some tree trunks in, some more light on the cliffs and some light on the cliffs here, light and shadow and whatever else. So let's get into it. We'll go for a bit of cad orange, white. I just want some decent highlights there, half mixed. The cliff itself just has some absolutely beautiful white limestone effect through here. Coming down here, a little bit there, a bit more white to lighten it. Alright, we've got plenty of the colours in here now. I might just get the brush and I'll just stand back and have a look. We'll get the brush and we'll start softening. Just pull that through. Pull that through like that. What have we got? Alright. Got to keep the brush fairly clean because you don't want to overdo this. Clean her up. I'm just going to blend this sky. Just put some softness into the picture because we want to have a contrast between the beautiful chunky style cliffs and then softness. And the more you can make the contrast, the bigger the contrast, the more dynamic the painting will become. So we're just doing random marks here, blending. Bringing that sky up slowly to the top. With little marks to give that broken type of colour effect. So, it's gradually going up. It's looking good. It's really put a subtlety into the painting that wasn't there a second ago. Hear those chooks? Alrighty. Pull that through. Alright, I'm going to come in. I've got a lot of the big tonal values in. Now I'm going to put some subtle stuff in which will help really pull it together. Maybe some cads and whites. Just really clean marks with a knife on edge. Pick out those beautiful Australian gum trees. Nice big trunk there maybe. White, cad. Oh, that one didn't come up too well, there we are. Wipe the knife clean. You need a clean knife because we're dealing with wet on wet, so everything's very, very slippery and slidey. But that's part of the technique, it's part of the look that you can get. Now I've left a few of the white bits of canvas just showing through, and at first that doesn't really look like anything, but as soon as you start to put a few tree trunks, all of a sudden your mind suggests, well hang on, those little white marks are actually branches and trunks, the bits of canvas that are left. Just need the power of suggestion like that. Because over here, these few little marks here, as soon as I make one very obviously a trunk, all of a sudden those other marks become branches and trunks too. And you don't want to overdo it. We'll put some in, we may even take some away, because sometimes too much can become too much. You just got to suggest it. Suggest the detail and let your mind do the rest. We'll go up all that though, just a little further down the track out this way. Off on edge. Little clean marks here and there. Alright, well there's a little bit of a township just here which I haven't put in yet, so we'll stick some in now. There's those chooks mucking around again. Just suggest a few rooftops in the right spots. A knife on edge. Like I'm saying, then some of these little white marks along here will actually become rooftops instead. Now I might go for a bit of white, some of the blues and magentas, make a corrugated Kind of that corrugated iron colour. It's almost like a purple white. Stick some out on the horizon. Well, she's all coming along, and so are the chooks. I think they've laid an egg, you little ripper. Now, what I need to do is get some white. Got one of these big tins. Nice fresh chunk of white because I'm doing more of the highlights and whatever. Gonna need some clean, really clean paint. Just going to mix up a little bit of white, a few oranges and browns, and key it off a little bit with some magentas and whatever. Just flicking a couple of clouds in, just chuffing along here off in the distance. Not too much, just a little bit. Maybe a bit out here, right on the edge. So coming along, get some lovely deep blues and whatever. Maybe just stick a little bit here and there. Create some variety, breaking colours and whatever. It's beautiful. Adding a little bit more magenta in this mix as it's getting more down this way. You little ripper. Well, I reckon I should leave it at that. I got the big impression now. Pretty happy with what's going on there. I've got the beautiful recession from the foreground in the shadow, leading off further and further along the cliffs till you go right out into the distance. You've got nice little flecks of colours in the gum trees. Just a suggestion of the town, Nildotty, the township on the edge here, just off in the distance, just a few little buildings. Maybe pick one or two out there too. Then you've got that beautiful receding skyline there. Just in here I've thrown a couple of clouds because they're nice and warm and kind of peachy orange, and that sets it back that little bit so you really get that near to far. In here I've played up on the lovely colours between the actual colour of the water itself, that kind of green colour, and then the reflection of the sky, just flicking it around. Nice downward marks here for the reflections of the trees. Some beautiful cold blues here to complement the colour of the cliff with the warm and cool. It was casting a beautiful blue shadow like that, so I thought really play up on that, so I've done that. Happy with that. Yeah, she recedes nicely into the distance, some nice little backwaters. Beautiful flecks of massive strong colour right here, pure white and pure cad yellow and orange, just to bring it right up. So you've got these keyed down with slight magentas and whatever else, and greys or blues to make it grey. Sends it right back, so it really gives that near far kind of effect. On the whole, pretty happy with what's going on. Why don't we get that camera off now, come buzzing right in. You guys can have a look and see what you think. All right, thank you.